Hi guys. Today I'm going to talk about the changes going on here, temporary changes, and then stuff that we've all been kind of facing lately that, like, it's just been a pain in the butt, right? And then how we can overcome it and how we can deal with it so that it doesn't affect our psyche, I guess, right? Our outlook on life. Because let me tell you, I'm no different than anybody else. You know, when something goes wrong, sometimes it affects my everything. It affects my everything. So, and I know you guys are probably the same way, right? So, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And as you are aware, or if you're new to this Coffee and Company, this is where I'll be doing free mini psychic readings. Coffee and Company actually it's supposed to be a morning event, but it could happen any time of the day. Depends on when I get my ass in road gear. Yep, exactly. So, a little past news. As you know, probably I've had laryngitis, so that's why you haven't seen me online. And started off with like sinusy type stuff, and like heavy duty sinusy stuff. So I thought, you know, and I started coughing, and then I lost my voice, and to be honest with you, I thought it might be COVID, so I went and got tested, and of course it was negative. Thank God. So what I found out after doing another, it was an online gallery, was that one of the gals there must have had some kind of medical intuition or medical knowledge. She says she thinks it's my GERD, which I've had GERD for 40 some years and been taking medicine for it for that long. And sure enough, I did some Google doctoring and found out that GERD can cause laryngitis. GERD can cause sinusitis, ear infections. Who knew? Not this girl. I didn't know. So that's what I've been dealing with. And a lot of, well, the laryngitis is obviously gone. Sometimes I still sound like a little masculine because I get a little deep. But I realized that the sinusy stuff is probably the GERD. So you'll see some actions or some changes in my activity here while I go through some medical procedures which affect not only my throat but also my stomach. But I'm fine. It'll be fine. Okay, here we go. Cough, cough, cough. Talking too much. So that's what I'm dealing with, and so I really thank you, and I'm very grateful for your patience, because the mystical direction's been put on hold, because that's usually it's usually about 40 minutes or so, and you haven't seen me too much in the mornings either. Mostly, honestly, between the coughing and then coughing because I'm not getting the sleep that I need, so it's just been kind of a frickin' mess. Anyways. Let's cross my fingers that these procedures take care of the matter. Yep. Yeah. So Candy says her weakest point is also her throat. It's always been my weakest point. And I don't know if it's, you know, the GERD is exacerbating that weak point or that weak link. And someone else told me, Catherine, Tessalon pearls. But I heard that the Tessalon pearls were for bronchitis. It's not bronchial. It's right here. It's all right here. It's not in my chest. We'll see what happens. Do you see me retiring anytime soon? I'm going to come retire with you, Sherry. Nah, probably not. You know what? I honestly can't see myself ever fully retiring. Because this is a calling. This is a calling. And it doesn't take a lot of energy to talk to dead people. So there will always be an aspect of my work where I give back or do readings, maybe at a lesser degree, like not as many, but I'll still be doing them. So maybe when the husband retires and he's out fishing, it gives me something to do. Anyways, there was something I posted recently on the Facebook page about closed doors and then ultimately opening doors. And that waiting period, the hallways. Yeah, Sherry, yes, acid reflux will make me cough. And I have had known of my reflux cough for about 2 years now. Anyways, so the hallways between the door, closed door and open door is a bitch. It just is. Because when we look at something and we want it, or we know that this is where we're headed, we want to see things transpire in our time. Quickly! Or at least in a moderate amount of time, not like forever and a day. But see, that's us kind of fighting against the universe. And when I say universe, this could be God, this could be your spirit guides, but probably the universe on the whole, right? So waiting for universal time, or God's time, is sometimes difficult, even though we can see where we're headed. It's almost like seeing where we're headed, those little glimpses, give us something to aim for and work toward. Doesn't make it easier, mind you, but at least we know where we're going. And a lot of times people say, like, a door closed, and I don't know where the hell I'm going. Again, in God's time. But, knowing that, even though it's in God's time, it doesn't mean that you have to sit around and wait. No, be proactive, be productive. Work towards anything. And you'll be shown a way, right? Whether you're going in the right direction or you're going in the wrong direction, or we just need to course correct a tiny bit. So the worst thing that you can do, the absolute worst thing that you can do, is just sit around and do nothing. So even though you know where your end result will be, the timeline in getting there does have to do with you, but also with spirit more often. And just be open. That's the hard part. Be open to little nuances changing around that end goal. You may see where you'd desire to be, but how you get there may be different than what you anticipate. Or you may see where you desire to be, and it might be just like one little step off. So Spirit gives you a goal. Spirit gives you something to move toward. So that's what the closed door, open door, and hallways are all about. And you know, it's hard. Change is hard. Change is hard. Any closed door is hard. It just is. And even if we anticipate it or we precipitate it, change is hard. And it knocks us sometimes out of our comfort zone. That's a good thing. That means we're changing and growing. And you know what that means? If there's change and growth, that means we got a while to live on this little planet called Earth. Because that's what we're here for. If we're not changing, if we're not growing, if we're not moving and doing things differently and inspiring others as well as ourselves, you better be careful. Forward to those changes, regardless of how painful they may be. And sometimes, and myself included, sometimes you know that there's a change imminent, and you don't take steps to put that in motion. So you're given a warning, and that warning might be a hunch. It might be like you're seeing the vibe around you. For me, it was a work situation. So you're seeing the vibe, and you know things are changing, and you don't take action because you're comfortable where you're at. Comfort, my friends, is a danger zone. So then, in a sense, you're kind of taken out of the situation. In other words, you might lose the job. You might, in my case, break your leg. Different things that will stop us from doing what we're doing, or stop us from becoming complacent. If Spirit sees that you are not taking action and heeding their direction, your life will change drastically. Now, I know that this sounds like a punishment. And it's not. It's not. You see, your spirit people were hired by you before you were born to do exactly this thing, to keep you on track. And if you're no longer growing, you're stagnating. So they will help you to move on track. And now, granted, looking back, the two major situations and life changes that I lived through, ultimately the changes were the best thing that ever could have happened to me. When you're going through it, it might be living hell, right? The hallways are a bitch, as that meme stated. But looking back on it, I can see where, I'll admit, I was avoiding the change because I was comfortable where I was at. But the change was ultimately good. So, this is what's going on. So if you're in one of those uncomfortable situations where you know you're changing or you're in the midst of the change, embrace it. The best thing you can do then is to embrace that change. Get into all the nitty-gritty. Everything that you feel is uncomfortable, get into it. Because the sooner you can assimilate that, the more comfortable you will be. The sooner you will be more comfortable. And then allow Spirit to bring you where you're supposed to be. Love it. So the most recent situation for me was probably about 4 years ago, maybe. I have to tell you, I was getting very bored with doing mediumship. Very, very bored. It's the same thing. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what the hell? How could she be bored with that? Well, you know what? You do the same thing every day for 30-some years. Yeah, you get bored. I need to change. All right? So I left myself open to something new. And I kept on, like, affirming that I have a new pathway. I have a new pathway. Because I knew if I didn't change, something was going to change me. I'm embracing change. I'm embracing change. And I allowed what came to come. I didn't know what it was going to be. Still has me in the same field, but doing work a little differently. And I'm loving it again. I'm absolutely loving it again. So, yeah, so just because you have change doesn't mean you're automatically going to be out of your, like, way out of your comfort zone, like completely changing your, like I could have gone from mediumship to digging ditches, right? So it doesn't have to take you, like, so far out of your comfort zone or your knowledge base to make a huge difference in your life. Yeah. So forever change, forever grow. Always learn. Always learn. Yeah. All right. The next thing, so I want to do a couple quickie psychic readings. This is not mediumship, kids. If you're not aware of the difference, mediumship is talking to loved ones. Mediumship is talking to spirit people, angels, guides, God, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. That's for mystical direction, which, if you're not aware, is usually the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. But again, because of my throat, I've been putting it off. So just keep that in mind. The Coffee and Company is about psychic stuff, and that's about past, present, and future, about things going on in your life. So if you could post those, I know some of you have already posted already. It could be for you, it could be from a loved one. It could be just about anything. You know, there's relationships, work, finances, family, home, all different kinds of stuff. Health. And of course, I'm not a legal person, I'm not a doctor, but I will give you what Spirit gives me and use my intuition doing so. All right. So I already have someone coming, or something coming through. It has to do with finances, so I'm not sure what's going. Oh, it might be Catherine. Catherine Flores, what does my son's future look like? So here's the thing. I felt like this had to do mostly with finances, and I don't know if that's where your focus is at for him, but this is what I'm seeing. What I'm picking up is pretty much what I said, was talking about, with there's personal work that needs to be done here to enact growth, enact growth sooner. Because what I don't want him to do is to sit by his laurels and think, I just need to put in more hours. Well, that's not always the case, right? It may be that he needs to add to his education or go in a different route to find what actually suits him to benefit him in the long run, something that's going to bump him up the ladder, so to speak. So I'm not too sure if that's exactly what we're talking about, but that's what it feels like to me. So I feel like finances are growing for him, but he's got to get off the couch, right? Get rid of that complacency. Okay? Yeah, so I leave that with you. Jason, yo, dude. I love Jason. I would love to know when a career change is coming. Oh, gosh, golly. So there's a couple things going on. There's a couple things going on here. I almost feel like you're juggling. So there might be more than one change. Or I don't want to say change. I don't want to say change. I want to say addition. All right? Now, granted, something may phase out while something else comes in. But at the same time, I feel like you're picking up a couple other things. I'm not saying that you should look at yourself as the master of one thing, because you shouldn't. So don't try to limit yourself to one thing. However, and here's the business acumen that I'm picking up, and I have used in my own work environment. So Jason is a fabulous Reiki master. So, and this is just a guess. I don't know what else is going on, but so I'm just going to off the top of my head. So let's say you start selling crystals, like you're doing retail work, okay? And then let's say you start doing herbology as well, right? Don't lump them all into one thing. 3 separate businesses or 3 separate things. All right? And that's what I'm hearing. You need to separate these things off. I know it might be easier just to do it that way. Now, granted, you can always do that under one business license, but as per maybe Facebook groups or websites or whatever, do it 3 separates. Because these are 3 separate, very individual, highly specialized topics. So approach it that way, okay? Kathy, no. Where are you? Kathy Rivetta. I was looking at your post when I was reading Jason's. Kathy Rivetta, I'm hearing no. Not yet. I don't know. If ever, but not yet. Because one of the things I'm seeing is I almost get a sense that you might be presented with someone that has more needs than you are able to provide emotionally or physically or whatever, mentally. All right? So, and if you can assure that those issues won't be the case, then I would say go ahead. But initially, my first initial impression was no, because I feel like you're not aware of what you're getting into, and it might be might be dicey. Okay, so at least not yet, but my thinking is no. All right. Okay, Maureen, she wants to see what's going on with her son's health. One of the things I saw was, who was it on Alice in Wonderland that used to say, Curiouser and Curiouser? I can't remember. Was it Mad Hatter? I don't know. But that's what I heard. Curiouser and Curiouser. So if there's something going on with his health, keep on looking. If the doctors that you're seeing are not finding or maybe they're not finding anything, but you know that there's something there, keep on looking. Because there are people, I'm hearing people, not one person, people who can find what you're seeing and pinpoint it. So keep on looking. Not sure what's going on, and I don't need to know, but I do feel like keep that curious mind open. So don't stop looking. Just like me. I had GERD for 40 frickin' years. I never knew that it could cause laryngitis, which, to be honest with you, that's pretty stupid, because why couldn't it, you know? Never really crossed my mind. So I'm feeling like that may be what you're experiencing. So do a little Google doctoring on your own. I heard one time that there was a symptom checker online. I don't know if that's the truth or where it is or what the website is, but I heard that there's a symptom checker. Now, if you find it, hopefully that's associated with like Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic or something like that, right? So it's a reputable organization. So hopefully that helps you, okay? Denise Lee says, oh crap, I just lost you. The comments go so fast. Prepare. Is there anything I may be forgetting? Any insight that's welcome? Preparing to teach again. So I know that sounds kind of ominous, and it kind of feels ominous to me, but in a funny way. When you're preparing to teach again, what I'm seeing is this is a whole new ball of wax. It's almost like these kids, whether they're youngsters or adults, are just different than what you're expecting or what you had become accustomed to. So be aware that this could be a whole new ball game, Denise. All right, just be aware. If you have any colleagues or past colleagues or something like that that are in the same subject range or age range, what have you, pick their brains. All right, pick their brains. WebMD for symptoms check. Thanks, Mary Parker. Okay, so Nicole is going through divorce and she feels like it's never going to end. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. One of the things, this is just intuitive that I'm picking up, one of the things is, now granted, I don't know if you have kids or not, but I get a sense that it never will end if you have kids, because that's the way it is. However, I do feel like you need to be aware that there's, and this is totally intuitive now, that there's a bit of narcissism going on here. So there will always be that hook, right? There will always be that hook. There will always be that manipulation. And as long as you're aware of this, you can nip it in the bud. And I feel like maybe that's where part of the elongated divorce proceedings is happening, because there's manipulation there. The more they can manipulate you, the more that they can see you in pain, which is just a sad, sad thing, because that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone. So blessings to you, sweetheart. Blessings to you. I'd like you to, if you're not aware of this, or if you're not familiar with having narcissistic abuse, I suggest you doing some Googles on symptoms of narcissistic abuse, or the common actions of a narcissist. You know, I'm 62 years old, and it wasn't for about 3 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago now, that I was the victim of a narcissist. And I'm telling you what, from experience, unless you've been a victim of a narcissist, you cannot fathom the pain, the self-recrimination, the like why, all that kind of stuff. So if you're going through that, honey, God bless you, and realize that this is not your fault. All right? Michelle Lynn, fighting to get a dog back. Is he coming back? This is kind of weird, and I know this doesn't answer your question, but I heard with a wing and a prayer. So in other words, the answer is probably yes, but I would start praying. Okay? The possibility's there. Yeah, the possibility's there. All right, let's see here. Becky Pyle. I'm hearing yes, but it's never enough. And one of the things that I am feeling about your husband's raise is that I feel like it's not enough. It's across the board. It's not him. It's across the board, I'm hearing. And as of right now, I'm just hearing he needs to stay the course. All right, so stay the course. Okay, Emily Smith. Will my brother-in-law reach a plea agreement soon? And will it be positive? Well, I can't tell you whether it's going to be positive yet. Hang on just a second. I'm hearing yes and yes, but there's going to be stipulations. So I'm feeling it will be positive to a certain degree, right? Because I feel like there's give and take here. Ultimately, I feel the answer is yes, but with a little bit of wiggle room here, okay? Okay, Barbara, should I move back or stay here? You know, in this instance, what I'm seeing is either answer is good. Either answer is okay. Because I feel like you're the planner. I feel like you're one to research and set up opportunities wherever you are, whether you're staying or going. And so you'll be okay either way. So what arena or what area makes most sense to you? What suits your purpose the most? Because I feel like either way will be productive for you. All right, let's see here. Let me keep on going. There's a couple more I want to do. Mariah, stay the course. Because one of the things that I felt, and I saw one of your posts, so I know you're out of state or wherever you are, but stay the course. There's something going on. Okay, so Mariah is a fabulous, fabulous photographer. If you're not familiar with her, I think her website is Lutz Family Tree, Lutz Family Tree Photography, so check her out. Anyways, what I saw was, and I know, we had talked whether it was a free reading or a mediumship reading or whatever the hell it was when you first started this career, and I told you that this is it. This is like the big time girlfriend. And you built up this great career. However, I think you're at another pinnacle. In other words, I think you're going even further. What I saw was you doing or being featured in a magazine or a book or something like that, because I see your work in a magazine, I think it is. Something like that, or in a book or some kind of print. And it's not you putting it out. I see someone else putting you in the book. So I feel like it's only going up from here. It may seem like I said earlier, that there's, the hallways are a bitch, like the door closes, one opens, that kind of thing. So you might be in the hallway right now. Just know that there's changes coming. So look at different ways, while you're in the hallway, look at different ways where you can add to what you're doing. Not something different. Stay the course. Stay in your career zone. But in what ways can you offer something different? For instance, this is just a guess. So for instance, I know I know that your work is very stylized. Maybe it's you're offering a different style. I don't know. It's something to look at. So that's just an idea. And it might be that you already intuitively know that something needs to change, or that you've been looking at introducing something new into your business. That's probably what Spirit's saying. This is where you need to go. All right. Okay, my kids. My throat is about at an end. I can feel the larynx kind of closing up. So I appreciate you putting up with my absence.